Hello badminton players and fans all around the world. Welcome to episode 6 of the Tokyo 2020 show. I'm Henry and this is Jeff and we're from the Badminton podcast and 𝗧𝗵𝗲. On the daily show, we're going to give you the latest news, updates, results, opinions, polls, predictions, and so much more. So, what's the deal with the hat, Jeff?
Look, I just feel like it's Christmas right now. There are so many good matches. I just can't take my eyes off the screen. So Christmas has come early, I think. Santa's come early because the amount of play that has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, we're literally screaming in front of our TV screens, watching the matches, and the neighbors are probably thinking, what is going on in there?
Exactly. Crazy, right?
So look, we're coming to the 4.5 day mark of the Olympic Games, and we're starting to see some of the Olympic athletes, the competitors, start to fall out of the competition and start to go home. One of those being 𝗦𝗵𝗄, Vietnamese men's singles player. Now, special mention to him because this is his 4th Olympic Games. His first one he debuted in 2008 in Beijing. And look, he's 38 years old, the oldest player in the badminton competition this year in Tokyo 2020. So look, can he make it 5, do you think? 2024,
Perhaps.
Paris?
The Tin Man making it to 5, who knows? Maybe we'll see him in France, right? So, do you remember that rally? It went viral. I think it was 𝗧𝗵𝗲 against him. 108 shot rally.
Massive shot rally.
Ridiculous.
Don't know if you guys have seen it. If you haven't, there's a few points here.
Check it out.
Quite get it done, can he? Jorgensen staying resilient for the moment. This is turning out to be. Unbelievable, it's a little bit short. Still going. Have you seen anything like this? Brilliant. But they deserve to be a loser. Are you keeping count, Lydia?
So I guess speaking of going home and people going home, you know, it is a sad time for a lot of the players and we've seen so many go through this morning as well. But in terms of, you know, it's not always sad, right? Sometimes it's the opportunity to learn, get better and come back, you know, resolve and you know, essentially redeem yourself. And one of those players that we've seen come back firing in Tokyo, of course, is 𝗧𝗵𝗲 𝗧𝗵𝗲. She did win her game in straight sets this morning against the Russian Olympic Committee representative 𝗦𝗵𝗲 𝗧𝗵𝗲 in straight sets. So let's hear what she has to say about what she learnt in Rio.
本番の東京オリンピックでメダルを取るためにどう出場権を得るというよりもどうシード権を取ってまたパフォーマンスもこう世界トップ選手に対してどう自分の良さであったりどこプレーを極めていくかっていうところをこうコーチだったり自分の周りのスタッフといろいろ考えながらあの時はまだ自分がこう世界のトップ上位 にこう確実にいられる選手ではなかったですし、自分の中でもそこに対しての自分に対する自信もまだなかったので、本当に毎試合毎試合五分五分の試合を拾ったりだとか、そういう感じの感覚だったんですけど、今はやはり世界上位に入れる自分に対する自信もありますし、リオで感じたその悔しさを晴らすために東京この4年間っていうのはもっともっとこう勝負に対してこだわるっていうか、こうより勝つ確率を上げるためにどうしていくかっていうことをやってきたので、そこのなんだろうな、怪我から復帰してのリオよりやっぱりそのリオがあってこの4年間どう次の本番に向けてやっていくかっていうところの最初のスタートラインから全然違ったかなと思って。
So Henry, she's definitely learnt a lot and she's on the road to potentially doing better than she did in Rio. So all the best to her. In other news though, we did have the quarterfinals of the mixed doubles just this morning and we had 4 awesome matches, super competitive. Let's just recap on them. So first one here we had
Marcus and Lauren losing out to the Hong Kong pair of 𝗬𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲. Crucial errors there in the late second set, unfortunately for them both.
Yeah, they were ahead in that second set with all those going to 3, right?
Yeah.
But then a few errors in the last 3 points, unfortunately, net error, smash error, then leaving the serve out. So I guess the Olympics there's just so much pressure that we're probably seeing a lot of the top players maybe not perform as well as we're used to seeing them playing because of the stakes involved in the games.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a similar story with 𝗬𝗍 Huang Yaqiong versus Praveen and 𝗦𝗏. We kind of expected that maybe the Indonesians wouldn't quite measure up to the Chinese, which they were so, like Yaqiong at the front was just so
dominating.
Fast. Yeah,
dominating the front court.
Unfortunately for them.
And I don't think the Indonesians played that well this whole tournament, unfortunately, the whole Olympics. Maybe COVID's had a factor in terms of their preparation, but we want to see them in the future. All the best to them, but unfortunately they will be going home.
Yeah.
But probably, let's cap on the second seeds first. We've got Huang and Wang. Yep, the Chinese pair.
𝗬𝗍 and 𝗧. And again, the Chinese were just a bit too strong. The Koreans did come back a little bit in that second set, but China got away with it in the end. But the one match that we want to focus on today is Yuta Watanabe, Arisa Higashino, and 𝗧𝗵𝗆 and 𝗧𝗵𝗍. I'm going to try their last name. So 𝗧𝗵𝗆 𝗧𝗏𝗏 and 𝗧𝗏𝗍 Tarantanachai.
Good job.
So that was an epic 3-set match. Jeff and I actually we weren't going for the same team. I was going for Watanabe Higashino, and you were going for 𝗧𝗏𝗆 𝗧𝗏𝗍.
Yeah, look, I really like both the pairs, but to me, I've seen 𝗧𝗏𝗍 and 𝗧𝗏𝗆 play so well against, like for the last few years, right? And it was a bit disappointing to me the way that they have been playing this tournament. So I was kind of rooting for them to, hopefully they would play better. They did play well in the first set, but that probably was Arisa and Yuta not playing
also
that well.
Not,
few
yeah,
errors
they didn't. I think at least in the first half of the first set, you could see that Higashino as well as Watanabe just making a lot of unforced errors.
Yeah.
I guess, as we said earlier, the pressure of the Olympics really weighing in there.
Yeah.
But the Thai player so strong in those first 2 sets, really.
Yeah.
You know, playing a really strong attacking game. But then in the 3rd set, we did see that I think it was 𝗧𝗏𝗍 after the interval.
Yeah.
I think mentally
struggled.
Yeah.
It looked like she had no answers. Her face was kind of a bit blank, and it was like she didn't know what to do. I think that 𝗧𝗏𝗆 played quite well. I think that 𝗧𝗏𝗍 didn't play as well as she could have, and I think that was basically the limiting factor in terms of who won that match.
Yeah, and then I think Higashino and Watanabe just found their rhythm as well.
Yeah.
Right at the
I think found that mid-court. Like Watanabe was so high in that mid-court, and just like the last point, just here, and 𝗧𝗏𝗆 can't move anywhere because he's just got too many options here that you just
so
don't know
fast.
what's going on. Yeah. So moving on from the mixed doubles, we've got the women's doubles knockout draw that came out just last night.
Yeah.
And look, we've got a few really good matches here. First of all, let's talk about the Indonesian, so 𝗧𝗍.
We'll bring that up on screen for you guys to see as well.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, check the screen right now. We've got the Indonesian pair, and then we've got the Chinese pair, Du and Lee.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts for that?
We saw Du and Lee play Lee and Shin last night. I remember yesterday I talked about a bit of a sword and shield fight where Lee and Shin just overpowered them.
Yeah.
they really found their rhythm, and I think the Chinese pair last night kind of mentally shut down a little bit.
Didn't know what to do as well.
Yeah.
In that second set,
yeah,
it's hard for them.
Yeah, I think the first set took so much out of them that it was really hard for them to keep up in the second set, and 𝗵𝗲 almost bullied them towards the end. But against 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗵𝗲, I think that they're going to do a lot better. I don't think 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗵𝗲 have the firepower like 𝗧𝗵𝗲 does to knock them off the court.
Yeah. So you're going to go with the
Chinese pair.
Chinese
I'm
pair.
going to go Chinese pair, yeah.
I'm going to go to Indonesian pair. Okay. I think that 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗵𝗲, they both have a lot of experience in these big situations. The Chinese pair are a bit younger. They're still very good, but I think that maybe if the Indonesians can get the upper hand early, get that confidence up, then that experience as well could pay off for them. So I'm going to go with the Indonesians for that one.
Yeah, okay, because it'll be interesting because the Chinese pair have actually won their last 3 meetings, so I think that's going to have a bit of a psychological benefit for the Chinese pair. But although they're coming off of a loss, so that confidence may not be that high for the Chinese pair. And then we've got 𝗬𝗵𝗲 versus 𝗦𝗵𝗵cie and 𝗧𝗵𝗲. To be honest, 𝗦𝗵𝗵cie, very good women's doubles players, but I think they did benefit from having the weaker group in the women's doubles draw.
Probably a little bit weaker, so I'm not saying they're not a really, really good pair, but I do think that Lee and Xin, we saw them last night play really well against the Chinese. Probably the best we've seen them play this tournament at the Olympics, so I do think that it's heavily in favour for them to take that match.
Yep, they'll just power them off the court, to be honest. And then we've got 𝗵𝗲.
𝗵𝗲 versus Matsumoto and Nagahara.
Yeah. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the Japanese pair. I know they haven't been playing that well in the Olympics, but I think that their level will increase, or it will be brought up by the level of the Korean pair. So I'm going to go with the Japanese pair. They're number 3 seeds for a reason, and I do think that they can get this through.
Yeah, look, I agree that they can perform. I'm going to go 𝗵𝗲. The reason being is, Matsumoto, when I've seen him at this tournament, I don't know if it's the pressure of the Olympics or even in past tournaments before. Under pressure, she's just not quite as strong. And I think with 𝗵𝗲, their firepower, if they target Matsumoto, if she's playing well, the Koreans will have trouble. But I think the 𝗵𝗲 are in pretty good form.
Okay, so you're going with the Koreans. And for the last match here, we have a Chinese-Japanese affair. So we've got 𝗵𝗵𝗄 𝗧𝗵𝗲 versus Fukushima and Hirota. Now, although I do really like the Japanese pair, I think that Hirota's at 50% of her capacity compared to what she's been able to play in the past with that knee brace and that knee problem. So I think that they're just not going to have the answers to the heavy attack of 𝗬𝗏 and the front court coverage of 𝗵𝗵𝗄. I think it's going to be too hard for them.
I think it's going to be very tricky for Hirota. Even if she can get to the front court, her movement's just not quite there at the moment. She's carrying a lot of extra weight in that big old knee brace, unfortunately.
She is.
Yeah, so China for that one. I think we agree that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So what we'll do is we are going to talk to Stephen Stallwood and Callum Hemmings. They're men's doubles players from England. And we're going to discuss the men's doubles knockout draw that came out last night as well. If you haven't seen it, check the screen right now.
All right, so what do we think of this men's doubles draws, guys?
It's quite interesting. So obviously we've got Marcus and Kevin versus the 2 Malaysians, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲. I think it's kind of looking quite one-sided at the minute. The Malaysians have so far never beaten the Inders, I don't believe. So I think it's looking like the Indonesians for that game.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, with the Olympics, I think anything can happen. But just like Callum said, it'll be an interesting one for sure. Marcus and Kevin, clear favourites, I think. So the pressure will be on them. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, I think we talked about 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗏, the Malaysian pair, and how when they played against Daddy, so Hendra and Ahsan, they were good in some points, but they did struggle. Like Hendra was taking on the front pretty easily and against 𝗧𝗏. And I think that 𝗧𝗏 didn't play that well in that match. So I think that if 𝗧𝗏 can take over the net, but Kevin's there, so I don't think he's going to win the net against Kevin. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's going to be a hard one for the Malaysians to overcome the Minions.
Yeah.
Even though the Minions came off a loss yesterday against the Taipei pair, I still think they're the better pair, and it's unlikely they're not going to win.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more or less the same as what happened with 𝗦𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲. I think So might challenge the net, but because Kevin's there, he's not really going to have much of a chance.
Yeah.
And Aaron is creating most of the opportunities as well.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we agree with you guys. Indonesia and they're probably going to go through. How about Twin Towers versus 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲, guys?
Well, I'd love to say that the Danes will win, being a fellow European. But I mean, you know, the Chinese have beaten them 7 times and only lost to them once. So I think the stats sort of speak for themselves there. You know, we haven't seen much of the Chinese recently, but you know, the results that they've had recently in the last couple of matches, you know, it seems like they've been extremely dominant so far. So yeah, I think the Chinese will win that one. Yeah,
I'd just like to sort of copy what 𝗵𝗵 said there. I just think with their run so far at the Olympics, they've been looking quite strong, quite convincing. You know, like I said, we haven't really seen them in any tournaments in the past year or so, even longer. But we've seen some of the Danes and they've been looking okay, but just not to where they have performed before. So I just think the Chinese at the minute are just going to take this game, yeah.
Yeah, they were relentless against the 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗬𝗵𝗲. Like, they just dispatched them, but without too many issues. They never looked in doubt, and I do think that that's going to be the same situation. Unfortunately for the Danes,
But yeah, I think Junhui, we kind of talked about Junhui previously being a bit more of the erratic player, but seeing him at the Olympics, he's
solid.
He's solid. He's really solid. And they're both very solid. Yeah.
So moving on to...
And maybe they do have a chance. They've done quite well against other Asians in the past, but yeah, if they can like bring out the A games, then I'm sure they have a decent chance.
Yeah. And then if we move on to the Li Yang and Wang Qilin versus Hiroyuki Endo and Yuta Watanabe match, that's probably the key match for us that we want to really watch, because we do think that Li and Wang could win if they bring an awesome game, but if they don't, then I think they're going to struggle a bit.
Yeah, agree. However, I think they are playing really well at this tournament. They started off a bit sort of shaky against the Indians, but then finishing the group, beating Kevin and Marcus was really strong, and I think that momentum will carry through. However, saying that, Endo and Yuta are just so solid that almost seems like no matter how good they're playing, I think Endo and Yuta, I think personally, will win the game. But if they play as well as they did the other day against Kevin and Marcus, Li Yang and Wang Qilin, I think they have a chance, because they were just getting absolutely everything back. But I just think the Japanese will be just too relentless for them.
Yeah, I think the Japanese have also got that home advantage, which will work really well for them. But yeah, I think that will definitely be one of the closer matches. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a clear winner. But you know, you've got the Taipei pair who have finished the group really strong, beating Kevin and Marcus for the first time. So I'm sure they'll be going into this match with a lot of confidence. But yeah, like what Callum said, Endo and Watanabe are just two like absolute brick walls, basically. You know, like it's hard to get through them, like incredible defenses. Yeah, these Taipei pair have got to be relentless on the attack here.
Yeah, exactly. The wall of Japan. So I think with Li Yang and Wang Qilin, they need to bring that game that they brought to the Minions, or they're probably not going to stand a chance. Now, how about the other Japanese pair in 𝗵𝗲 and Tsunoda versus 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗆?
Oof. Again, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗆 beaten them 5 times. However, 𝗵𝗲 and Tsunoda, they've won, but only twice. But you know, it just goes to show that 𝗵𝗲 and Tsunoda can beat them. Again, home soil. So I feel like 𝗧𝗵𝗆 and 𝗧𝗵𝗆 will win. You know, they've got that seniority and you know the experience, and I'm sure that will come into play here. But yeah, no, 𝗧𝗵𝗆 and 𝗧𝗵𝗆 for me, I feel like they're just too skillful, too clever. Yeah,
just like to copy what 𝗵𝗵 said again. I think with the experience that they've got, I think it's going to really shine come through at the minute. Now it's the knockout stages. I just think that like people are going to start getting quite nervous, and I'm not sure how much experience that the Japs have had at like major events like this. And with 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲, you know, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 obviously former Olympic champion. I just think he's got that experience, and I think that will come through today, and I think they'll take the win.
Yeah, agreed. I think that the daddies will be too stable, too skillful, and we saw them play against 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲 from Malaysia, and they just neutralized everything. They're so good. They're just so good. So we've got our money, if we're going to say money, on 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲 as well. So Henry, we've got some men's singles coming up tonight. We haven't seen that much men's singles action yet, but we do have some blockbusters. So who are the do not miss matches for tonight?
So tonight it's going to be Jonathan Christie and 𝗬𝗵𝗄. That is the do not miss match, guys. That would be at 7:20 p.m. local Tokyo time. So I guess just a bit of background that Christie has won the only 3 matches that they played against each other, and Christie also won the Thailand Open earlier this year in a sort of nail-biting 3-set match. But we, of course, you know, 𝗬𝗵𝗄 did mention after his match against 𝗬𝗵𝗄 that he is much more prepared this time round, and according to him, hopefully I will take him down.
Big competition, but of course Christie's playing for so much. Unfortunately, his brother did contract COVID and he did pass away, and his mum and dad also did. So he's definitely out there playing for them as well as his brother. And in his own words, he says, "This is for him. I want to do my best for him." So a really hard situation for Jonathan that he's had to go through that during this year and during the preparation period. But hoping that he'll be able to find that strength and have a really good performance against 𝗬𝗄. So who are you thinking for that in terms of winning?
I think 𝗬𝗄's a bit too one-dimensional, to be honest. He's fast, he's definitely fast, he's aggressive, but Christie, firstly, he's got his heart playing on the line. You know, that may or may not improve his performance entirely, but his game has so much more to it. I think that if he can take Christie on and take 𝗬𝗄 on and sort of place those drops to the front of the court, that's where 𝗬𝗄, I feel, is not so strong when he's having to lift in those front corners. So I think, Christie should be able to take this one.
Yeah, I'd agree. Just purely because, 𝗬𝗄 is fast, but I don't think he's as fast as Ginting. And Jonathan would train a lot with Anthony Ginting, so I think that the speed, he'll be used to it. He'll be ready for it. So I think that he will win that match as well. Second men's singles match that we are looking at tonight is 8:40 p.m. Japan, Tokyo time. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Malaysia versus 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Lebedes France. This is a tricky one for 𝗧𝗵𝗲, I think. They've got
Especially
a one
this early on.
Yeah, this early on in the tournament. They've got a 1 all head-to-head, but 𝗧𝗵𝗲 did win the last meeting, 2019, in straight sets. But 2019, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 wasn't the player that he is today. So it's a tricky one. If 𝗧𝗵𝗲 gets confidence early and he starts winning early, it could put 𝗧𝗵𝗲 under quite a bit of pressure. And we do know that 𝗧𝗵𝗲 can beat top players. He's beaten Chong Wei a couple of times. Lost to him more than he's beaten him, but he has beaten Chong Wei in the big stage before. So I think that's a really good one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think 𝗧𝗵𝗲 is good when it matters, and that's the most important thing to recognise for this particular match. And look, hopefully we see the 𝗧𝗵𝗲 we saw earlier this year, because I think it's going to be pretty heavy competition.
Yeah, so if he can keep that attack up, keep dominating the net as he does. If he's dominating the net really well and his touch is really good and his attack is on target, it's going to be really hard for 𝗧𝗵𝗲. So based on what I've seen of 𝗧𝗵𝗲, I will go with 𝗧𝗵𝗲 for this one, but 𝗧𝗵𝗲, I think, could potentially cause an upset if he doesn't play well. Yeah,
look, I'm going to agree with you. I think 𝗧𝗵𝗲. And then finally, tomorrow morning, we've got so many good games starting, okay, guys? So starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow, we'll start to see the semi-finals of the mixed doubles. We'll see the quarterfinals of the men's doubles and the round of 16 of the women's singles. And Christmas is still here. So we've got so much to focus on.
Christmas is extended. There's so many good matches.
Yeah, but I guess the one that we're probably most keen on or have our attention focused on is going to be Liang Wang Qilin of Chinese Taipei versus Hiroyuki Endo and Yuta Watanabe of Japan.
Look, of course, the Taipei pair of Li and 𝗬𝗵cie𝘄
and
Leon. They are going to come in with a lot of confidence. They've just come off the back of beating the Minions, but I do think that they need to be playing as well or better to beat 𝗬𝗵cie and Endo, because they're just so solid. Their defense is so solid, and if they don't play that well, I think that they won't lose, I don't think, from getting winners hit against them. They'll lose probably from making their own errors, I think. And also just they'll be outmaneuvered. They won't really get winners hit through them, I think.
Yeah. I think where they can win their points is if they can create those opportunities where 𝗬𝗪cie can really get those angles, those really steep angles, smash hard down, finish the point essentially, because it's going to be so hard to finish the point against the wall of Japan.
Yeah. They got through yesterday against the Minions.
Yeah.
Let's see if 𝗬𝗪cie can get through with that brutal attack of his today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, in terms of yesterday, we presented to everybody a secret sound, right? So if you haven't heard that secret sound, check it out now.
So we had 4 different options. We had Marcus 𝗏𝗏, we had Anders Rasmussen, we had Aaron Chia, and Kiyo Tsunoda.
Yeah.
And the answer is
Kiyo Tsunoda. So Kiyo Tsunoda, we received over 3,000 comments from you all, and Kiyo actually won. So you guys guessed correctly, 41% Kiyo Tsunoda.
Good stuff, everyone. You know your badminton sounds. Now, do you know your women's singles players? We do have an image on screen that's going to pop up now. Who is this image of? Is it Baewen Zhang, USA, Akane Yamaguchi, Japan, Michelle Lee, Canada, and Kim Ga-eun, Korea? So make sure you pop your votes into the chat box and the comments so that you can count them and see if you're right for this poll.
All right, so in terms of today's Raise a Racket, Jeff, I'm gonna try this again. We're gonna raise a racket to 𝗬𝗵𝗲 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲.
Good stuff with the names.
Thanks, Jeff.
𝗬𝗵𝗲, raise a racket to you. I know your Olympic campaign is over, but I think that you're an awesome pair. Keep it up. And I hope that you would have played better, but that's just the way it goes. It's the Olympics. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure, and 𝗬𝗏𝗏 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Higashino played awesome as well.
So we hope to see you in France, and of course the tournaments in between.
So just as a gentle reminder, we are starting the evening session today at 6 p.m. local time, and tomorrow morning again at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So make sure you do check out the schedule, and you also check out where you can watch the games by looking at the URLs that are on screen now. Of course, there is the blog as well as the match center, so you can keep up to date even if you can't watch the video itself. So from myself, Henry, and everyone at the BWF as well, we just want to say thank you for tuning into this episode, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you, everyone.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.